All right, Orange, help me out here. I'm just wondering, which team are we watching? The team that ran through the competition throughout much of the season, or the team that seems to be right now in a valley? As you know what? There's 2 weeks left in the regular season, then the Big East tournament, then the big dance. And a team should right now be peaking. But it seems as though the Orange seem to be valleying. I mean, first we started off the week pretty good, with that pretty good thrashing of Providence in the Dome, and their coach, who looks like he's got a map of Albania on the back of his head. But I mean, through the first half, and I mean throughout the game, the Orange looked pretty good in dispatching Providence in their final regular season Big East meeting. Because I don't know if Providence and Syracuse are going to keep that rivalry going. And then came the big one on Saturday, the one that set the attendance record for an on-campus basketball game. Boy, it looked like the horseshoe. And you know what? A lot of stadiums are like horseshoes, except they got that one end of the dome tarped off during basketball season. But it really looked like a big horseshoe with those 35,012 fans that packed the dome for the final regular season meeting in Syracuse, between Syracuse and Georgetown. And you know what? Through the first half, even though both teams put up too many bricks, the Orange had the lead. But what happened in the second half? The Orange fell flat as a pancake, and Georgetown took real big advantage of it. It was eerily similar to what happened 33 years ago, in the game that really made this rivalry what it is. When in the final regular season game at Manley Fieldhouse, John Thompson brought the Hoyas in and pretty much ended what was then a 57-game home winning streak by Syracuse. Because Manley Fieldhouse was the house of horrors for Orange opponents. Boy, everybody remembers how almost 10,000 fans would pack Manley Fieldhouse, and they'd have that section of Manley Fieldhouse called the Zoo, and everybody was right on top of the court. But John Thompson and the Hoyas and Eric Sleepy Floyd managed to close down Manley Fieldhouse before the Orange moved to the Dome. And although Manley Fieldhouse is still open as a practice facility, mainly for the football team, plus also a little bit for other sports, I mean, Manley Fieldhouse was a big thing. And then 33 years later, in this final game at the Carrier Dome between the Hoyas and the Orange, hopefully not, because I hope this game between the Hoyas and the Orange, the rivalry will continue. It's the same thing. The Hoyas wind up victorious 57-46. They will meet again down there in Washington, D.C. for the final game of the regular season. But this was really a bad taste and pill. Something like what would happen if you took cough medicine. Boy, I should remember to take Triaminic. And another bad taste last night. The Orange was leading Marquette 32-29 there at the end of the first half. And what happened? The Golden Eagles started hitting every shot, and the Orange wound up putting a lot of bricks there. And even though the Orange was able to close there with those 3-point shots, heck, there were only 0.2 of a second left. And it was just like what happened there in the '87 championship game. They threw a long pass down court that was intercepted. You know, 2 straight losses. Well, 1 out of 3 is not good. Usually 2 out of 3 ain't bad if they were wins. But 2 losses like that at a time when you should be peaking. It seems as though you're valleying, Orange. Where the heck you been? An orgy? Well, get out of that orgy, Orange. We gotta get going. Doesn't get any easier. Louisville comes up this Saturday at the Dome, and even though we do get a respite with DePaul in the middle of next week, it's Georgetown again to close out the regular season. You should be peaking, not valleying, Orange. And enough ranting about the basketball team. I'm going to talk a little bit about the NFL Combine, where a few of the Orange football players that may be NFL ready are right now. I tell you what, the Combine's grown by leaps and bounds in the last 20 years. It used to be just a few reporters and a few scouts. Now you got pretty much the world's press and scouts from all 32 NFL teams there in Indianapolis. And of course, Ryan Nassib, Justin Pugh, and all the other Orange that are there can really raise their profiles. But you gotta wonder who the Buffalo Bills might be looking at. Doug Marrone probably has his eyes on Nassib. Well, of course, they say Tyler Wilson, the quarterback from Arkansas, is also garnering a few eyes from Buffalo. But some mock drafts don't have the Bills picking their quarterback until the 3rd round. And there's a couple of them who I could make up nicknames for right now. First, some have Zach Dysert of Miami of Ohio being the Bills' pick there in the 3rd round. Zach hopefully may give Buffalo their just desserts. And also, there's Tyler Bray, the quarterback from Tennessee, who may be on Buffalo's radar. Hey, hopefully this Bray is no donkey, and if he is, then hopefully Buffalo won't look like a jackass if they pick him. But of course, that's for another day. The draft isn't for a couple of more months. You know what? There's plenty of time for Buffalo to evaluate their talent. We gotta find who we're gonna pick for number 8. It's a good bet Geno Smith's gonna be picked before the number 8 pick. Some have Buffalo picking a wide receiver for their number 1 pick. But we'll see. And of course, Manti Te'o, who may be on Buffalo's radar, only ran the 20th best of the 26 linebacker prospects who ran the 40-yard dash. You gotta wonder, is that the way Te'o's supposed to run? Or is he affected by all the negative press surrounding the hoax that befell him about a month ago? They also call it the Combine. Since when did it become a name? Since when did the thing for NFL talent get the name of a thing that harvests crops? Of course, we're trying to harvest new NFL players, if you know, but you better watch out for the machinery. Enough about that. Well, let's talk about one other thing that kind of was close to me this past week. I always love it whenever they run at Daytona, because it's the start of a new racing season. And yes, I do like to watch racing. I do like to watch NASCAR. Over 25 years ago, I was an auto racing junkie. But that one incident that happened right there at the end of the nationwide race really affected me. Because I tell you what, 25 years ago when Bobby Allison's car became a bad airplane during the Talladega race, they've tried whatever they can for safety, slowing the cars down with the restrictor plates and building up better safety features for the drivers. Of course, it took the death of Dale Earnhardt to put better features to help the drivers in their helmets, plus new barriers around the tracks, the safer barriers. But that crash at the end of the nationwide race really brought out a few more fears. Nearly 30 people were injured by the flying debris, and especially one car that virtually disintegrated. you saw the engine block and the tire there. Of course, you saw a lot of fans scurried out of the way when that debris came into the stands. Of course, I could have done this. I could have just scurried, run over several people with my girth, tried to get out of the way of it, or I could have just sat there like this, holding my beer, saying, "Hey, don't look now, but I think we're about to be killed." I think I'm not going to be number 2. As you know what, those tires weigh about 70, 80 pounds. And I mean, you get hit by one of them, you're not going to be seeing stars. You're going to be up in heaven. Of course, the thing is, I mean, like I said, I could have been sitting there doing that, or I could have been like a soldier in wartime scurrying for a foxhole, sitting there, you know, and I'm watching the war. Nice war going on, yeah. Somebody's winning, fireworks. Ooh, look, a ship in the air. No, I'm not going to be that type of guy. NASCAR, I mean, yeah. You'd like to see the cars go a little faster, but at a speed where they can handle it. But, you know, you shouldn't sacrifice fan safety. You gotta do something. We don't need a repeat of what's happened at several NASCAR events, nor a repeat of Le Mans almost 60 years ago. That almost caused racing to be banned all the way around the world. We need better features, NASCAR. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about the Oscar ceremony. You know, Seth MacFarlane tried his best to be a great host. Some of his jokes were dead on, but some of his jokes kind of were a little tasteless, were a little off balance. Especially that one about Abe Lincoln, because they said, hey, the only person who was able to get inside of Lincoln's head was John Wilkes Booth. Oh, MacFarlane, you know, that joke was very crass and very tasteless. You know, John Wilkes Booth, I mean, yeah, thing is, he was the assassin of Lincoln. You know what? Sic semper tyrannis on you, Mr. MacFarlane. And also, that thing with your alter ego with that teddy bear talking to Mark Wahlberg, making cracks about how a lot of the talent in Hollywood is Jewish and all that. And the thing is, talking to Mr. Wahlberg thinking he's Jewish. Well, you know what? He's Roman Catholic. Not everybody who has a Berg or something like that is Jewish. And the thing is, you know, there are some Roman Catholics and some people of other religions who are pretty good Hollywood people. You know what? That was a little crass and a little distasteful. MacFarlane, you should have picked better jokes. But I will tell you one thing about Jennifer Lawrence. I was really proud of her winning Best Actress. She is a great young actress, and of course, many people like her for her role in Hunger Games. But you know, with that long dress and those big shoes that look like they could kick Bigfoot, no wonder she tripped going up those steps. And of course, Hugh Jackman and Bradley Cooper tried to do the chivalrous thing by helping her up. Of course, she was able to get up on her own. But you gotta wonder, when is it gonna be before one actress really falls down and goes boom? I know it's great to look good there at the Academy Awards, but you shouldn't kill yourself. Of course, sometimes I've tripped and gone boom in just my sneakers. But then I get up and I'm like this. All in all, congratulations to Christoph Waltz, Anne Hathaway, Daniel Day-Lewis, Jennifer Lawrence, and Argo, and also Ang Lee, the winners of the big awards. And in closing, nice tribute there to James Bond, especially Dame Shirley Bassey, showing at 76 she can still belt out about a thing named Goldfinger. I'm Ken Haas. That's my story for this week, and I'm sticking to 'em.